everyone, and welcome to For the Love of Nature, a podcast where we talk about nature, and I already forgot the intro. It's been too long. A podcast where we tell you everything you need to know about nature, and probably more than you wanted to know. I'm Laura.
And I'm Katie, and thank God I have this short line of this part, but we are back and better than ever. So besides Laura forgetting everything, which is our tagline and the whole essence of who we are.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys have noticed that we rebranded. So you should see some new cover art that's coming up that, we wanted to have released for last season, but it just wasn't quite getting done quick enough.
Shout out to our awesome graphic designer.
Heck yes, who gave us a quality product. And that was part of it, was we wanted to take it, we wanted to slow it down to actually put together a product that we liked and not just, hey, let's hurry up and throw something out. Because that's what happened the first time around.
Yeah.
It was like a few...
Does these colors match? I don't know, probably. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's put it together. And that's how we came up with the first cover art image. And so, like Laura said, we actually hired somebody this time around to put something together for us.
We still have our little axe that Josh drew us.
Yes, he still is going to live on. And hopefully he'll stay around forever. I hope so.
Me too.
So season 4, I cannot believe that we've been doing the shenanigans for a year. That's what...
I can and I can't. There's parts of me that is like, yeah, we've been
this
doing
just
it for
keeps
a year.
going on. Yeah.
But then other parts of me, it's crazy that it's been a year.
It's been a year. That, for me, I guess the crazy it's been a year part is that because of my ADHD, that I have stuck with something for a year. I've stuck with something for a year. Yeah. To me, that's amazing. But I mean, mostly because you guys don't let me forget stuff.
Plus, I think what helps, because I also, I watch so many ADHD TikTok stuff now, and one of them was talking
about... I got you on the algorithm now.
It's so true. And they were talking about hyper-focusing on hobbies and then jumping hobbies. Oh my gosh, that is so me. And, but
have you seen the one where
we take breaks?
No, the breaks definitely help.
If we didn't take breaks, I think we'd be done.
We'd be done. We would have been done after the first season. There's just no way. Everybody needs a breather. Because we've talked about this before, but we record them in batches. And so the season might be X number of months long, but we really, for the most part, get huge chunks of the recording done at the beginning of the season, take a little break, and then get it done, and then we're done. Yeah. And so we have some breathing room. At least we like to think we do.
Right. We've said we were going to every single time. It really gets to be like a 3-week breathing room.
Yeah. But listen, life.
This time, maybe this time.
Yes. We have such high hopes for this season, like we do every season. But it's going really good. I mean, everything's been going really good with the podcast. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We are going to put this episode up on Patreon. So if you haven't been supporting us so far, jump over to Patreon to go ahead and see the video, because most of the time where you hear silence and Laura kind of laughing, I am uncontrollably laughing. You just can't hear it.
Yeah.
You can see
Katie's just smacking the table
because I can't breathe. Yeah, my asthma. So it's way better to watch the video. So if you haven't hopped on over to Patreon, go ahead and go see us over there, and we'll be putting this video up, and then probably the backlog of some other ones up too.
Yeah.
So, alrighty, what else has been going on? We want to talk about life here for a second. So,
because we heard you want to hear.
Yeah, we heard you want to hear.
Just fast forward a little bit.
Yeah, but we had several people that talked about they just want to hear Laura and I talk a little bit about what, just Laura and I. Which is fascinating to me that people think that we're fascinating.
Yeah. Although from an outside perspective, as a scientist, our lives are pretty weird and
They don't even know.
I know. That's
They don't even know. So I do want to give, speaking of personal stuff though, I do want to give a shout out. So if you've been really fine-tunedly paying attention to everything, you might notice that my last name has changed. And that's from the opposite effect of a marriage. It's from a dismarriage. I am now divorced, but the shout out part I want to give is to Laura and Kim, who have been ever so freaking patient. Last season was just a dumpster fire on a dumpster fire on a dumpster fire for me. And Kim and Laura were super adaptable, and Kim stepped in quite a few times, if you've noticed, to do some of the segments with Laura, and those were weeks where I was like, guys, I just mentally cannot do it. I just cannot do it. So Kim really made sure that like I mentally had the bandwidth to do anything. Laura, whenever I said, listen, I want to do this one, Laura made sure that I was getting my scripts done. And then finding other fill-ins and interviews and everything like that for the ones that I couldn't do. So shout out to you two, especially for helping me through season 3, because that was a rough season.
Yeah, definitely for you. And I mean, it was no picnic for me either, just having like such a young baby. I was definitely overwhelmed in my own life.
Yes. So it was
everyone warns you that maternity leave is not going to be vacation. But I was like, surely I'm going to have she's going to be sleeping all the time. No.
Not when you have a hyper baby. Yeah.
No. And like anxiety and obsessions, like everything is exacerbated by hormones and.
Mm-hmm. It's always fun. I mean, kids are a joy in life, but.
Kids are a joy.
But my dad, before he passed, he always said his favorite ages for us kids were 2 to 6. And I 100% agree with that.
That's so the kids I like to work with at work, so I'm imagining.
They're just fun. Oh,
and
gosh.
Funny.
No. Yes. Listen, I'm not just saying it because he's my kid. Luke is the funniest freaking kid that I've ever met. Just the way his brain thinks, the way he comes up with jokes on his own that he thinks are hilarious, and they're not, but they are really cute. And yeah, it's just such, and he's 6, he just turned 6, and so he's such a good age right now. But yeah, so thank you guys for everybody who made it through the hectic season of 3, which...
There was quality stuff in there, though, so if you haven't heard it, go back.
Oh my gosh, there were some good... I had a laughing meltdown so many times.
Well, plus that and Duke Lemur Center, which I'm still like...
Heck insane that we landed that interview, yeah. We had some really good guests, and we are going to keep bringing guests back for sure, just because it's fun for us.
Oh, it's so fun.
If I could just keep doing interviews like with the guests and keep pumping out episodes like that, we totally would. So.
And during the break, I got to be guests on 2 other shows on Strange by Nature and High Panda Pod, both of which were awesome.
Yeah, go listen to it if you haven't.
Yeah, go listen to their stuff. Katie, I can't tell you how hard I laughed on High Panda Pod. If you haven't listened to it, you must. It's so good. Those guys are insane. I love them, but they're insane.
Yeah. And we're going to start, like, we do, now that life, I always want to say life's going to calm down a little bit, and then it just kicks it up a notch. But we do want to keep doing the interviews and things and have more guests on our podcast, and the Patreon aspect of it really does help, just because it gives Laura and I a little bit more time and the capacity financially to pay things for, like, recording and all that stuff, and be able to do video editing. And so there is a cost to all this. And most of it, for those that do back us on Patreon, that does freaking help so much.
Thanks, Kristen and Tracy.
Yeah. Shout out! Because it is a huge freaking help that allows us to pay for all this stuff, so Laura and I aren't constantly taking it out of our own pockets. So it is super, super helpful. But yeah, that's also a reason why we took a 2-month break. One, holidays are just chaotic. Laura juggling a baby and school and life and work and just everything. Yeah, we took a 2-month break, but now we're back, and I am pumped for season 4. And
you got a lot of good ideas. I'm excited to write a lot of them.
I am too, and that's what every year we start, like, or every season that we start the season and just write down all our ideas. I'm like, oh my god, we have so many good ideas, like, they just, so good. So this one too, I'm really excited about. So hopefully you guys like the rebranding, and are excited as much as we are for season 4.
Yeah.
I gotta pull up my scripts here.
Well, today, guys, we figured we were going to kick off things like we have
It's
our 1-year anniversary. Yeah. So what better way to celebrate our 1-year anniversary than to talk about reproduction?
Because listen, there's more to it than just that, because we talked about it. 1, Valentine's Day. Hello.
Yeah.
2, we did start off the podcast with the animal sex episode, and that is still, I mean, besides the intro, the animal sex one And so I have so many people that tell me that those are their funniest ones. So,
well, because it's crazy. So we wanted to talk today about how the animal kingdom has developed all sorts of wacky ways to reproduce.
And yeah, this is just
insanity. And Kim's comments, as normal, on point.
Kim is, I don't even know how to describe Kim's comments half the time. Like, as far as just how...
It's exactly what I want to hear. It's exactly... She's our audience. It's the only reaction we get from an audience.
But they're also so well written.
Well, like, right, because Kim's an editor.
And it's just so well done. Like, oh man, half the time I laugh so hard at her comments.
Yeah.
Gosh, we will have Kim. I believe it's our next episode. We're gonna have Kim back because she's always a fan favorite. So yeah, let's go ahead and let's dive into this.
Let's do it. Ready? Disclaimer, as we did last time.
Gosh.
This episode will be talking about reproduction and animal sex. So if you have younger ears listening that aren't ready for such things, please leave the room or switch episodes. Because this one, we talk about things in a scientific way, but there are going to be so many puns and so many innuendos.
Okay, listen. My second one, though, I will give another disclaimer because you just can't, children cannot listen to my second one. I feel, and you know I have no shame in talking about this topic, but my second one, we'll get there. And we'll give another disclaimer. But yes, we talk about it in a scientific way. However, many ears. Jokes. Many ears and little ears should leave the room at this time.
Or all right. Ears? Is Grandma still listening?
I don't know if Grandma's still listening. Ruth, if you're listening, please.
We apologize now.
I'm so sorry, Grandma. Oh, I love my grandma. Yeah. Alrighty. Okay. Do you want to go first, Laura?
I don't care. Sure.
I'm
ready. All right. I am going to start alphabetically. So we're going to start with the anglerfish.
This is one that I had picked, and then Kim was like,
I was wondering if this is the one.
This is the one that I had picked too.
It's freaking weird. I was not surprised that you had probably looked at it. Okay, so remember we're talking about wacky ways of reproduction. It doesn't get much weirder than the anglerfish. So
dude, I think I have you topped, but continue.
Okay. Most people are familiar with anglerfish in that they are deep sea dwelling fish with giant teeth and one of those glowing lures on their foreheads, Finding Nemo, stuff like that. What they probably aren't familiar with is how anglerfish mate, specifically those of the suborder Ceratoidae.
I didn't know that it was just to one suborder, though.
Yeah, and actually
I didn't do that much research into it.
Specific species.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I'm not going to get that into the weeds.
Okay.
So if you thought that these fish look like something out of a nightmare, you would be correct. But
it's actually accurate, yeah.
But even scarier is their sex life. First of all, males and females show extreme sexual dimorphism, meaning that they look very different from one another. Males are itty-bitty tiny. Mm-hmm. So one species of anglerfish, the male is one of the smallest living vertebrates on planet Earth. So vertebrate being backbone. Tiniest little animal with a backbone. Another species, the female is 60 times longer and 500,000 times heavier than her husband.
That's insane.
Or her mate.
That's insane.
Yeah. So females are giant and get the huge teeth in the lure. Males do not.
So the Finding Nemo episode, that was actually the female that you saw.
Yes, you're right.
The episode. Yeah.
Males get big eyes, big noses, and just 2 pincher-like teeth. You're definitely, everyone who's listening, if you have the opportunity, just Google pictures. Yeah, because it's going to help.
Always Google pictures.
Yeah. All of these characteristics that the male has helps him to find a mate, which is their entire purpose of life. So big eyes to look, or big noses to smell, and then the 2
not to attract. Not to attract, though.
Correct. Yeah. Once these creepy little guys find a female, they attach themselves to her with those pincer-like teeth, upside down, usually on her stomach. Okay, kinky, but here is where
I was gonna say, I imagine just being like, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and like, ow. But yeah, to each their own. But here's where things get real bizarre. Okay, some of the species, they just fight, latch on, do the thing, leave. But not all of the species. Some of them, their tissues fuse together.
Ugh, that's so gross.
I know, and their circulatory systems actually interconnect.
That's a bit much.
The two have become one.
Yeah, literally.
But not I don't think very romantically, although Kim says I shouldn't be, shaming them or anything.
Don't shame the anglerfish.
Scientists still actually don't know how this happens, like how the tissues fuse.
Yeah. That is weird.
What they do know, which I think is just fascinating and I never thought about, is that the only way that they can actually do this, not the tissue part, but the whole, like, combining into one organism thing, it's because these fish lack a large portion of their immune system so that they don't reject each other's bodies. Because, like, when you get an organ transplant, you have to take, like, immunosuppressant drugs and everything. Because your body's like, these fish just don't have that part of their immune system so that they can fuse.
I mean, I guess that makes sense, but...
Yeah, still. And to what degree they've lost that immune system depends on how long their bond is with if it's catch and release, or if it's fused together for life. And how many males are attached, because it's not always just one.
That takes a level of, like, a leech. You know what I mean? Like a leech to a whole other level.
And so far, they have never discovered another species of animal like this that has sacrificed its immune system in this way.
Okay, what's the Disney movie Inside Out? Where, have you seen it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Where they're at the end and it's like the boy, it was like, I love you, I will sacrifice, and it's the same thing, he's like, I will sacrifice my immune system for you. Like, can you imagine if that's like a, just kicking it up a notch commitment.
Well, right, and dumb. Because you're way more susceptible to diseases.
Right? Oh, man. Yeah, before you mate. Gosh.
Yeah. So once this guy has fused, he is stuck there forever. Okay. And Kim's comment is, "Oh God, why?"
Oh, God.
So once he's stuck to her and their circulatory systems are intertwined, sometimes he gets bigger and lives as long as the female does. Other ones, this is a direct quote because it's just so good from the article I read. It's a New York Times article. Dr. Pietsch, Pietsch, says, their innards rapidly atrophy until little more is left than a bulbous pair of testes fringed with gills protruding from the female's flank with a sperm-filled saddlebag. There's basically no integrity at this point.
That is so good.
I just love that he says there's no integrity. They've lost all integrity.
There's no integrity.
This sperm-filled saddlebag. He's an accessory.
Yeah, right? Jeez.
This whole thing is a form of sexual parasitism.
A little bit, yeah.
As it sounds.
Yeah.
So what sucks is that the female is the host and she has zero choice in males. Yeah. Like, this is not like, she just tolerates it because she needs to.
They just latch on.
They just latch on and never let go sometimes. In some species, she may even have to put up with multiple men, up to 8 of them attached to her, which makes me want to puke.
It's just too many.
Yeah.
God.
And, like, consent. Come on.
Yeah, right? Nope, there is none.
None. When it just makes me want to barf because it's almost like they're like their little, like, growths all over her.
Yeah, just constant, just growths that won't go away. Won't leave you alone.
Testy growths.
Testy growths.
When it's time to mate, the females release eggs and the males release sperm at the same time because fish have external fertilization.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know. So they're releasing them in sync, and they do this probably by communicating through hormones. Mm-hmm. I mean, because essentially he doesn't exist. He is no longer him. He is her, and she's like, okay, it's time to release. So, in some species, this is obligatory parasitism, meaning that if the males don't attach, they'll die. and won't ever become sexually mature. So, like, they gotta find a lady to attach, or that's it. Although,
That's
I
it.
mean, once they attach, that's pretty much it anyway. So I don't know what's better.
Yeah.
So why do they have a sex life like this? No one's ever asked them, so there's that. But theoretically, scientifically speaking, in the deep dark depths, there are very little resources, and it's really hard to find another fish. So when you find love,
you gotta latch onto it. Yeah. You really gotta hang on to it. There is no leaving.
No leaving. Not all ceratoid anglerfish are parasitic. Like I said, some just latch on and leave, which is what I would vote for if I had the option as an anglerfish.
Yeah, just a little while.
But yeah, that is some species of anglerfish. Obligatory parasitism. Sex.
Dang. Just no choice in the matter.
Gross.
So
And now I hope that all of our listeners, if anybody does ever, and I don't wish this on anyone, but if you do ever get into what you feel is a parasitic relationship with another human being, please refer to them as an anglerfish.
Yes, you anglerfish, and then they have to go research it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Are you good? Are you done?
Yep, that's the anglerfish.
Okay. Alright, so my first one that I'm going to be talking about are crocodilians, crocodiles, alligators.
Ooh.
Yeah, and this is oddly...
I didn't even think they had weird I'm ready.
Well, wait. So, it's not... It is... It's different. It's different, but there's a part of it that's very different. You'll see. Okay, so even though I haven't really talked about crocs a lot, they are a species that I really like, that I found fascinating.
Living dinosaurs, I mean.
Living dinosaurs for sure. So let's just go ahead and dive right into it. Okay. All right, so crocodilians as a whole can be found all over the world. Alligators thrive anywhere from China, southeast portion of the U.S., and particularly Florida, of course, which is where we find most of our alligator species here, and a lot of the states along the Gulf Coast. Crocodiles are native to North, Central, and South America, Africa, Australia, and various parts of Asia. I did not know, though, that the only place where the two truly cross is in Florida, because we have both crocodiles and alligators there.
I thought the Gulf, but I didn't know Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, because the American crocodile really is only found in
I know, it's like endangered, right? I'm pretty sure.
I think it is, yeah. But yeah, so the only way to tell them apart is to not, because you're too close if you do. But, like Laura said, if you're looking at a picture or through binoculars, alligators have short, rounder snouts, where crocs are much longer, narrower.
And is the alligator with the overbite, and then the crocodiles have the both? Something too with the teeth. It
interlocks. I think the croc is the one that interlocks.
I think so.
I always go by the snout. The snout is always the easiest way for me to be able to tell. So they are exclusively carnivores, eating only meat, but plants have been found in their stomachs. However, it's probably just secondary. Yeah, because they're just like grab crap, whatever they can, from the shoreline, and they can grab branches, grass, whatever in there. So crocs have a long lifespan. For the most part, alligators typically live 30 to 50-ish years. Crocs upwards of 70 years. Subspecies, I should say. But just like every other animal, most of them die like long before their 10th birthday. And there are many things that go against crocodiles, mostly people, of course, but also other crocs. And I don't know if you've ever seen like the pictures of a crocodile with like half their jaw ripped off, and they're still fighting.
I saw one rip another one's leg off.
Come here. This part of our show this part of our show brought to you by Buc-ee's 12 flavor gummy bears.
Yum.
Buc-ee's is like a big... Can you shut the door, babe? Thanks. Buc-ee's is like a big gas station down here, but it sounds way better than just calling it a gas. It's a paradise, essentially. Yeah. So, shout out to Buc-ee's. Anyone who's in Texas will understand. Continuing. But yeah, so they have like half a jaw, limbs missing, and they all just survive. Because again, they're freaking dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And they don't care what they need to put up with. But, you know, they won't breed until, of course, just like everything else, they won't breed until they reach sexual maturity. And the maturity part is determined by age and size. So, according to the Department of Western Australia Department of Fisheries, male crocodiles are sexually mature when the snout reaches about 160 centimeters and female 110.
That's
which I had no idea that it was.
Me neither. That's so specific.
So specific. That
Length
it was
matters for crocs.
Apparently, and length of the snout, no less. You know.
Yeah.
So freshwater
Can you imagine
crocs,
looking at a dude's nose and being like, sexually mature?
Yeah, got you. Freshwater crocs are not as large, and males reach maturity at 2 meters long overall, and females at 1.5 meters, which makes sense because saltwater crocs are huge. Deceptively, like, yeah, you see saltwater crocs on TV and stuff. When you see them in person, you're like, that creature has no business being that big. Like,
well, plus, like, they don't look that big until they're eating like a zebra.
Yeah, and then
they look big.
Yeah, huge. Anyway, well, not so, okay, I'm going to have to call you out, because technically a saltwater croc does live in Australia, so they wouldn't be eating a zebra.
Oh, because I get it right. Nile crocs. Nile crocs, I'm sorry.
Gosh, saltwater crocs, I believe,
get even bigger?
Yeah, they're huge.
Holy crap.
We'll have to look. All right, so the breeding seasons, of course, crocodilians, because they can be found all over the world, but only, like, so far off the equator. The breeding season varies based on the type of crocodile and geographical location. Freshwater crocs, I didn't know this, freshwater crocs breed during the dry season, and saltwater crocs breed during the wet season. So it's opposite of each other. And I never knew that. I don't know how I didn't know that. But so let's talk about the actual breeding process itself.
Yes.
It begins with mature males staking out a territory. The males will posture and define their area. In rare instances, they will actually fight over territory. Most of the
typical.
Yeah, they will, but it's if they can find,
I mean, like, just the whole territory fighting.
Yeah, of animals, yeah. But with crocs, like, if they can find someplace that's, like, not already claimed, that's typically where they're gonna go. But they do, I mean, obviously half a jaw missing. They do definitely run into fights. So the mating dance itself involves almost all of the senses, which, I mean, that's a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, sensory.
Yeah, all, and it hits all of the senses. So males will begin by bellowing above the water, producing a low-frequency infrasound, which humans can't hear all of the sounds they're making, but we can, to some extent, like, hear the bellowing, which is like a low
grumble.
Growl. Yeah, grumble.
Yeah.
Which also, let's just pause to appreciate that. Like, if a guy came up to you, too, and was like, has a big nose, and is like, like...
I don't know. I mean, the growl is pretty masculine. I don't know about the nose part, but
the growl
could be a...
Laura, what do you find attractive in a man? His growl.
I mean, deep voices.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. It definitely has a lot to do with their voice. But a growl...
Yeah, maybe.
I guess it would have to depend...
Context. Context is everything.
Context is everything. I mean, never mind. I was going to say... I mean,
down a dark alley and a man growls at me.
That's what I was going to say.
No reproduction happening.
It depends on when he would growl versus when he would not growl.
Yes.
So let's just keep going with the human versus crocodile visualizations here, because this is going to get good here in a second. So males also then start, after they're bellowing, and they do this really cool thing too, where I know alligators do it, where it almost looks like water's dancing because of the bellowing. It like tickles and it looks like the water's dancing above them. So it is pretty cool.
Lake Placid, that giant crocodile movie.
That just, well, I mean, it happens in reality too.
No, yeah. That's how I knew it happened.
It is really cool. But, so, visualize this. So, male crocodiles then may also slap their snouts on the water and blow water from their nose or perform certain arched postures.
Arched? It's like they're doing yoga.
Not only is it yoga, but it's also like slapping a face into water.
Yeah, that's...
Blowing bubbles from their noses. and arching. And at closer ranges, if the female is nearby, because all this is to, like, bring the female in. Come on. Like, do you find this enticing? Come here.
I hear smacking. What's going on?
Yeah, I hear smacking. What must be happening over there? I hear growling and somebody headbutting the water. But at closer ranges, if the female is even closer, they may release an oily musk, which floats on the surface of the water to further be like, come here.
Yeah.
Come here. Yeah. Which this one, as glad as you are that human males don't release, an oily musk.
But who doesn't like a good smelling cologne or something?
But at the same time, they have done studies of
that they do
human body, the human body odor and how they did it to comfort of someone that you're related to versus someone that you're not, and so you do find natural body odor some more attractive than others.
Absolutely.
So they have done that. So it might not be an oily musk that floats in the water, but there is a musk to it. Hang on, buddy. What's wrong? Lucas, come here. Lucas. Duh. What are you doing? What are you doing? What's wrong? You okay? Okay, what are you talking about in here?
Oh, no, it's just this.
Okay. It wasn't just that, but whatever.
I know, I heard his voice.
Yeah, anyway. So ultimately, it's up to the female of if she's going to choose the male or not. If not, she just moves on. If she does like him, though, the male will start leading, the male who's leading the whole shebang of this, and the female is participating with her own set of auditory, visual, and olfactory signals during the time as well. So, and the pair is in constant communication from start to finish, which men learn a few things from the croc species. Communicate more. Doesn't hurt. So, once they do meet up, they tenderly rub noses and their snouts.
Aww.
Yeah, right? They rub their snouts and backs, which is kind of funny.
That's
they rub one another or blow bubbles, because why not?
Massaging is an essential step.
Right? And blowing bubbles. So don't knock it till you've tried it, folks. So when the couple is ready for business, sometimes after several hours of courtship, they'll twist around each other, trying to align their cloaca, which, if you've heard our other episodes, we've definitely talked about cloacas, but it's a waste and reproductive
hole.
Orifice hole. Yeah. So
catch-all hole.
A catch-all. A catch-all hole. Ew, that's so gross. Oh. So seconds after alignment of their catch-all holes, the male inseminates the female with his hidden penis. So,
Side note here.
Well, we're going to pause to talk about this hidden penis.
Okay.
So are you going to talk about the hidden penis? Okay.
Well, yeah.
Do you want me to go through it and then you can hold your thought?
Sure.
Okay.
Don't worry, I'll be able to hold it.
Okay, hopefully. All right. Now we're going to talk about the male's penile unit here for a second.
The hemipene?
Well, and the hilariously descriptive article from Nat Geo, which was freaking gold. So, here's what they've said about it. They said, here are the highlights. It's permanently erect, and it shoots out like toothpaste from a tube, and it bounces back because basically it has a rubber band attached to it.
Bounces back.
So the whole
like
that's what I was gonna say. I picture the sound effects that go along with it too.
It's
which the sound effects I couldn't, could you imagine, these huge crocodiles? I mean, first of all, if humans had sound effects, I mean, you do, but the sound, man, why can't life be more like a cartoon sometimes? But also, two huge crocodiles, which could kill each other.
These crazy beasts.
Yeah.
And that's just ridiculous.
But also, toothpaste from a tube?
Yeah, that's just nasty.
So the whole structure is filled with dense layers of a stiff protein of collagen. even like the center of it where the blood would normally flow to erect it, it's just collagen. And collagen, more collagen. So, and the male penis, it has absolutely no...
Versus the female one.
Yeah, has no muscles attached to it whatsoever. And it's almost free-floating. So, one pair of muscles, though, the levator cloaca, cradles the penis like a sling, but it doesn't actually, like, connect it.
Wait, okay, but it is not free-floating. There's something attached.
Not...
I mean, yes. It has to be. It can't just come out and, like, it has to come back in.
Okay, so there's a researcher, because it's been difficult to study, because studying live specimens versus dead, like, how do you study live specimen to get really up in, you know what I mean, to get really up in there? It's difficult. So they can do dead in, like, electroshock to, like, see muscle tension, but it's still, you can only do so much there. So, but one scientist thinks that when the levator cloaca contracts, it forces the penis out by squeezing the cloacal chamber.
Yeah. Hence
the toothpaste comment.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
clenched,
hanging out there. Yeah, and just like when it goes like, it.
Yeah.
And that's how it gets out there.
And then it just relaxes and it comes back in.
Pretty much. Yeah. Which, it was this point in my script writing that I realized that this whole thing is just so bizarre that I spend my free time researching this.
Yeah. But no regrets.
No regrets whatsoever. So anyway, the gator weenie, it has a tendon that does connect to the middle of it, which so far has been the only connection point that they know of. So it connects to the middle point, which the only thing it helps is to help to swivel it forward to, like, plop it out.
Yeah.
And its base is attached to the hip bone by a pair of large ligaments.
Okay.
Which, again, these ligaments, they described it as, it has the consistency of a big rubber band that the post office uses.
Interesting.
Which I was like, I mean, I know exactly which post office rubber bands she's talking about. Yeah. But, so those are the only two connection points, but it's more of like a connection point to hold on, to make sure it doesn't just, like,
shoot off and come back. Yeah.
Yes. Which, I mean, one and done if that was the case.
Yeah.
So as soon as the levator then cloaca relaxes, you know, the elastic ligaments then yanks it back in and copulation is done. So go ahead. No. Oh, I was just going to say, after that, they're done mating. They can mate several times over a few days, but it's certainly not exclusive, because the female will go around and do this with several other males, and one clutch could have several different DNA in it.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that's crocodilian mating. What were you going to say? Because now I'm excited.
I've felt it. All right, listeners, don't judge me too harshly here. All right? I was a zookeeper.
That's not what I was expecting you to say. Yeah. I am so excited. Continue, please.
When I was a zookeeper, they were moving the alligators in for the winter, and they wanted to sex them all because they weren't.
Oh yeah, I've sexed a croc too. Yeah.
So yeah, you just shove your hand up in the cloaca, wiggle your fingers around, and feel that weird penis.
Which is basically, if you feel something, it's a male.
Yes, like, exactly. That's what I was like. How will I know? And they'll it'll just feel like something's in there.
Yeah, if you feel something, it's a male. If you don't feel anything, it's a female. Yeah. But yeah, that's the only way to. I've sexed quite a few crocodiles.
So then, you felt it too.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have described
how special it was,
or that people describe it as toothpaste.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, gosh. All right,
that was weird. But
wasn't it?
Yeah, but cool.
Yeah, neat. I mean, and that's the thing is, like, I knew about the bellowing. I knew that the whole mating ritual. I knew about the musk. I knew all that
about the
toothpaste,
the complexity of the hemipene or whatever, pseudopenis or whatever they call it. Okay, one more. This one is
for
even
you,
weirder.
And then I have one.
Yeah. This one's even weirder, in my opinion. Start with A, and we're going to B for barnacles. At this point, listeners are like, barnacles? Like, come on, man. How weird can barnacles be? We're talking about those little things that, like, grow on pilings on a dock in the water. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Barnacles. So, imagine the difficulties of mating when you are permanently stuck in one place. Okay? Plants have figured it out. But
Uh-huh.
but animals usually, if they're stuck in one place, and the term for that is sessile, usually they release their eggs and sperm into the water and just hope for the best. That's what coral does.
Yeah.
But this isn't super efficient because you don't actually know if anything's gonna work. It all depends on, like, ocean currents. So, barnacles thought they could do it better,
But
and thus developed an enormous prehensile penis. Okay.
barnacles, man.
Um,
Who would have
never
thought the
in
most
my
wound down? Yeah.
never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that barnacles had
Barnacle.
the longest penis to body size of any animal.
I mean,
Okay, we're gonna talk about how big.
I was gonna say, I hope you're gonna compare them because that's what
How
I'm
big?
excited about.
Oh, we are.
Yes.
And Kim is comments just nope.
Yes. Let's hear it. How
So-
demolished are these female barnacles?
Well, they're hermaphrodites. So,
Oh, never mind.
so,
oh,
I
that's
mean-
right, they are from
So I mean, yeah.
continue.
But longest penis to body length, and that would be 8 times their length. Which, okay, for a barnacle, it's just a few inches. But listen
But
to this.
still.
I did the calculations. I'm laying in
I'm
bed at
so
night
glad you did.
because I have had to go to bed pretty early. So I'm laying in bed in a dark room. My baby's in the bassinet, and I am doing calculations to figure out barnacle size compared to human size.
I was gonna say, please tell me human size. Thank
So
you.
the average man is 5'9". If their penis was 8 times their length, it would be 46 feet long, which is the size of a humpback whale. Okay? That's where Kim goes, no.
I like that. Okay, first of all, excessive. I mean, I get why for a barnacle, but for a human,
Yeah.
uncalled for. Just a little
46
excessive.
feet. Okay, in my head, my
Can you imagine the tripping that would go on? Of just
dude,
anywhere.
It's just insane. But in my head,
As I'm
like,
eating my kid's leftover snack Lunchable, continue to talk about
yeah, barnacle penises.
barnacle
So,
penises.
you know, like, I feel like everybody has, well, maybe not, maybe this is just the way I think of things. When it comes to size, I'm not very good at estimating, so I have certain, measurements that I automatically know in my head. My front porch as a kid was 30 feet long. So when I
Okay.
do big measurements,
Oh, hold on. Pause. How did you know that your porch was 30 feet long?
my mom, when we redid the porch or something, my mom would talk about that it was that
And that
long.
just stuck in your
And that
brain
was
all
like
these
her
years?
benchmark for like how far away something was. It's longer than our front porch. So now that is also how I am. So this penis is like 1.5 times my front porch. So I'm just imagining a dude standing at one end and his penis extending to the next door neighbor's house. Okay? That's nuts. Just and prehensile, guys, remember, means it can move on its own. So all of a sudden,
It's like another
you're,
arm.
like, coming out of your house, you're locking your door for the day, and you get a tap on your shoulder, and it's your neighbor's penis. Like,
Hey, neighbor.
okay, sorry. Anyway, I'm getting a little excitable.
And see, the example that I would have given would not have been your neighbor tapping on your shoulder. There's 100 other examples that I could have given for the usefulness of a prehensile penis, and you had
yeah.
you're tapping on your neighbor's shoulder.
Well, essentially, that's what the barnacle's doing.
Oh,
Because they're trying to reach their neighbor, who's a hermaphrodite, and hoping that they will be. So not only is this insanely long penis prehensile, it is also covered in chemosensory bristles. Okay, that means chemosensory meaning chemical sensing. So like, you know, if there's like chemicals in the water that the other barnacles release, like hormones and stuff. So since barnacles are hermaphroditic, some may act as males and others females. The penis senses chemicals given off by the ones acting as female at the time and go in that direction. So it's like a nose and a penis combined.
that's what I was gonna say. They're just like floating out there, like, oh,
Yeah.
female over there. Okay, gotta go over there.
Yep. Weirdness does not end here. Scientists, this is just where it gets absurd. Scientists have discovered that the penises are affected by water conditions. I'm afraid for you drinking while I'm talking about.
That's why I took a sip before you took another. I was like, I gotta hurry up and get another swish in here. I gotta wash down that pizza Lunchable before we continue.
They're affected by water conditions. How? Well, barnacles that live in calm water have very long, flexible penis, and they have lots of different mates. If they live in rough water, they have short, thick penises.
Can't.
And this is what the article, I couldn't sum it up better than the article, which is from Wired, says, they are stronger and less likely to break or wave around in the surf, and more likely to successfully reach nearby mates. When you gotta worry about your penis breaking off in the water or in the surf.
I mean, I would be worried too.
Yes. But wow. I mean, barnacles, they come in all shapes and sizes, and some are the short and thick are just as useful as long and flexible.
And tap it on your neighbor's shoulder.
And this is not like this poor barnacle is stuck with a short, thick penis for life. No. Because guess what? Barnacles regrow their penises every year.
What?
Yeah, and I actually found out that's not the only animal that does that, but that's neither here nor there.
We have to circle back to that at some point. You can't just leave us hanging.
It's the duck. But
wait, what?
Yes! Apparently ducks grow new penises every year, like antlers.
Pause.
Right?
Are we sure?
I don't know. I researched it right before this episode. Because Kim's question is, I'm sorry, we're missing an important part here. What happens to the penis at the end of the year?
Yes.
Do they shed them? Are you telling me that's just used barnacle penises floating around in the ocean?
Oh,
do I
my God.
In barnacle penises?
Duck penises regrow every mating season.
I told you. Never would have thought. But
what?
Also, valid
How have I missed this all my life?
I know. How did that not come up in ornithology?
Yeah, right?
But anyway, Kim, I couldn't find the answer to your question. I am assuming, yes, they do just float around in the ocean, and yes, you are swimming in barnacle penises.
Maybe for the barnacle, but ducks. Once the season ends, the penis begins to shrink and regress until it's 10% of its full-grown size. They are stored in the duck's body, waiting to emerge only during copulation.
Wow, talking about, not wasting resources. I don't know about the barnacle. Maybe they break off. I mean, think about it. There's no way it could, the duck's is contained, okay? A duck's penis is a proper length. A barnacle penis is excessive, and there is no way that a penis 8 times its length is ever coming back into atrophy. It is just breaking off and floating free in the ocean. Which, wow. Talk about, liberating. Done with that, gone. And know that you're gonna get a new one next year, and who knows what it's gonna be like. Yeah, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because
it could be short and stubby, or it could be long and
if the water changes or they move to another location, their penis will change the following year.
Man.
Their penis is also affected by how densely packed together they are. So
that makes sense, yeah.
The acorn barnacle, which is usually the species that people are talking about here with this regrowing and things like that, they actually have folds in their crazy penis that helps them to stretch like an accordion. And the further apart they are, the more folds they have. Because they need to stretch further.
It makes sense.
So, yeah, they've got...
I also feel like we could have sound effects here, though, too.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. This one would be... No, I need, the squeak of a...
The squeak of a...
I don't know.
Spring? I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. So... Some barnacles that live too far away from their neighbors to reach practice sperm casting, which is what coral do. But
I
also
just like
a gross word.
Sperm casting.
Yeah, because I'm just imagining somebody playing with dice, just which is exactly how people mimic this action all the time.
Yeah,
but it is actually sperm casting. This is when they release sperm into the water and the females capture it. These are the first crustaceans known to do this, because a barnacle is a crustacean, which I actually didn't even know. And so coral do it, but they're not. So they're the first crustaceans. And that's the barnacle, guys.
Good grief.
Entertain your friends with that one. And I assure you, any men listening out there, I promise you that no lady out there wishes that you had a penis as long as a barnacle's.
It's just...
Comparatively.
It's just too much.
No.
there's nowhere for it to go. Like, you can only...
Too long to handle.
Yeah, you can only go... So
just terrifying, really. I'd run the other direction.
Well, there's nothing for it to do. Like, most of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing.
Especially if it had, like, a nose on it and, like, all that. Like, no. All right, Katie, you better finish up with your last one.
Listen.
I'm scared.
Listen, we have both talked about this numerous times, but we have not talked about this animal.
Okay, as long as it's not the duck. It's not the duck.
It's not the duck.
You would have found out about that. The duck, I was thought about covering it, but it's actually so awful of an animal as far as reproduction. No. I didn't want to bring it up.
It is, yeah. Well, the duck with its spiral penis and stuff. But anyway, this is one that we have both talked about that I am highly creeped out about. But we have to talk about. We have to address the non-elephant, but the elephant in the room.
Yes. Okay, good.
It's gonna be the holy bejeebers of all sex animals that freak me out, bonobos. It's
Ew.
But we have to address it because we've hinted around about it.
I thought you were gonna bring up the elephant because he's.
Oh no! The elephant in the room. That's not the elephant. Yeah.
Right.
No, bonobos, guys. It's we've done so many sex episodes. We have to finally just get it out there. Just talk about bonobos and. And I do feel like talking about bonobo sex is where I cross the line of being comfortable in talking about animal sex, but we'll get there. Okay, so bonobos are found in the Republic of Congo, and like other great apes, they too are endangered. So for a while, though, scientists thought bonobos and chimps were the same, and they did end up separating them after further studying several of the oddities that they do, but mostly is they have much more slender, longer legs, they have smaller heads than chimps, and overall just look way more human-like, which freaks
because they don't have as much hair, it always seems like.
No, they definitely don't, and yeah, just the slenderness of the leg, I don't know, they creep me out.
Yeah, they're super creepy.
A whole other proportion. All right, so let's the sex part, which is the whole point of this episode. Unlike chimps, who have social society a little more similar to humans, bonobos are the definition of make love, not war.
Yeah.
So what is essential to life? Food. What do bonobos like to mix with food? Sex.
So do a lot of people.
Right? To each their own. So sex is the key aspect for bonobo life. Like, sex is life for bonobos. In one study done in the mid-50s by European zoologists, they compared chimps to having sex more like dogs, whereas bonobos did treat sex more like people when they do face-to-face copulation.
What?
Yes. So in the 50s, that was
face-to-face.
Yeah. So in the 50s, though, they thought that, like, scientists in general thought that humans were the only ones to do face-to-face copulation, which there are still other animals that we know of today that do face-to-face, but it's not for, like, psychological purposes. It's mostly structural. Like, they have to do it face-to-face. It's not a psychological effect of it. But bonobos are different. They do face-to-face copulation because they want to
look at each other.
They want to look at each other, which is creepy. So creepy anyway.
But also kind of romantic.
Yeah, well, just hold on to your horses here. So bonobos, though, become extremely sexually aroused by, like, remarkably easy. And they can express this excitement in a variety of mounting positions and genital contacts. So although chimpanzees virtually never do face-to-face copulation, bonobos do so in one of three typical copulations of the wild. Another similarity that they have with humans is increased female sexual receptivity. So
nice.
So unlike chimps and a lot of other animals that they can only reproduce during a certain period of time, it's often very short. Bonobos, also like chimps, the female genitalia will go ahead and it'll swell to let them know that, like, hey, this is the time. This is when I want to do it.
Yeah.
With bonobos, it covers a much longer part of the estrus period than in chimpanzees. And instead of just a few days out of our cycle, the female bonobo is almost continuously sexually ready to have it. Like, almost continuously. Does not care what time of the month it is. She's like, bring it. Just come on. So another unique sexual aspect of bonobos are that, like I mentioned earlier, the genital rubbing. Just again, kind of like humans, they're like, it feels good, so let's do it. Females though will do this in such like they will like hold, like caress each other and sit face to face and just like rub genital to genital.
This whole thing is very like what you're thinking, like free love, like 70s.
Yes. It's bonobos, man. So, which females, if you think about it though, that is very a female thing. Like, I want to be held, I want to be caressed.
Yeah.
Males. This one, LOL. Male bonobos also engage in the pseudo-copulation, but generally perform a variation of it. You know, females want to sit and be held, not males. Males will either stand back to back, one male briefly rubbing his scrotum against the buttocks of another, or they also practice what is called penis fencing, in which two males hang from a branch and just rub their erect penises together, which is totally sounds like a man thing to do. Like females caressing each other.
Little boys?
Yes.
Come on.
Like just fighting.
Yeah.
Because they can. So just like in the trees, just like.
Yeah. Like,
rubbing
I feel like any little boy you could ask has done something like that.
Just battle royaling it out with their dicks. Like, can't. Where females like, I want to be held. They're like, let's do this. And just hang it from the trees. Yeah. So the other aspect of bonobo sex, and it's sporadic oral sex. They will massage another individual's genitalias, intense tongue licking. It's okay. For bonobos,
this is going to make me blush.
It's getting awkward. That's what I'm saying. We have to finally address it because you've hinted around about it so many times. It's bizarre. I mean, well, it's bonobos, but it's humans too, and that's what makes it so awkward.
It's not at all bizarre. That's what makes it so creepy.
That's what makes it awkward.
Yeah.
So, but to bonobos, though, as weird as uncomfortable it can be for us, like, to bonobos, it's not weird at all.
Oh, yeah, no.
But it's so much so, it's like a casual way of life. Yeah. Like, bonobos have been straight up known to trade food for oral sex. And it's like, whatevs. Like, they don't care. And it isn't just in zoos. It's in the wild, too, where they'll get, like, find a huge food source and then break out into one big orgy. Like, oh, figs. Like, let's get it on. And everybody just has sex because they're so excited about these figs. Which Kim then inserted a story here. So she goes, apes and primates are right past the Welcome Center. And this is at the Milwaukee Zoo, she said. We walk in, and two bonobos are just nailing each other on the glass. There were quite a few people in this area, and watching people freak the F out that these apes are just banging their brains out was an act of horror comedy. Parents shielding their kids' eyes, someone asking, what are they doing? Oh no! Grown men with a complex taking one look and bolting out of there. It was an excellent zoo day. Thank you, Kim, for your personal bonobo sex story.
And thank you, Milwaukee Zoo.
Yeah, right? So, but even that, though, is so normal and so part of their everyday life. Yeah. That copulation spells.
It's how they even resolve conflict, right?
Yeah, yeah. But it lasts 13 seconds and then just
snap.
Done. Yep. So it's not like, even though it's almost like if you were like a sex addict, I guess you would say, where it just becomes so like, meh, another part of my day, like whatever. 13 seconds, done, which, no thank you. So, it's so much so...
Unless the 13 seconds was all it needed.
You'd have to be real good.
No, I know, but maybe they're designed to be that way.
I mean, maybe. Maybe those male bonobos know something that human males haven't figured out, and it's just...
Or, like, I'm saying, like, the receptivity, like, the sensitivity of a female would be, like...
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe they just have, like, maybe they're onto something that just human males don't. But it's also so excitable that if two male bonobos can even approach a cardboard box that's been thrown into their enclosure in the zoo, they will briefly mount each other before playing with the box. So, like, it literally is, like, anytime they get any sort of excitement, they're like, let's do it.
Yeah.
And get it out of their system.
I wonder if it's like like, scientifically, like, why did it become this way? I wonder if it's, you know how, like, emotions take energy? I wonder if this is nature's way of being like, we have to quickly regulate the emotions here. You're too excitable. You got to calm down.
It's why you want to punch something that's cute, because your brain, it's so much cuteness. You want to take an act of aggression. It's why they used to say that, like, ants or whatever would pinch a baby's cheeks. Where people pinch baby's cheeks is because it's so cute. It's like an act of aggression to balance your brain out.
Right. That's what it's like. Like, because they're such an excitable species, this is the only way that they can
they can release it
and heal. Yeah.
I need to calm down.
Yeah.
Orgy. Massive orgy.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's all I have about bonobos. I mean, I could have gone into so much more, but
I'm sure, because I know that isn't like even chimps use like sex as like a way to gain dominance and like there's social hierarchy and
no, bonobos just do it to do it. But we're gonna go ahead and pause at the end of this episode, and I'm gonna go scrub my memory of researching any of these topics with bleach. Yeah. And then no.
Yeah.
But I think bonobos creep me out anyway because they are so human looking.
Yes.
And we have bonobos here at the Fort Worth Zoo, and I can't. Like, they're just so creepy. They're just so creepy looking.
Yeah.
And then just like, drop of the hat. Let's bang. Which, I mean, listen.
Well, it's just
whatever.
It's a very interesting view of society and what it would be like. It reminds me of, remember what's the episode we did last season where I was talking about that machine? It was the Mad Scientist. It was our last episode, and my scientist created the Orgasmatron and was talking about the only way to have he termed the coin sexual rebellion.
Yep.
And his idea was that to be mentally healthy, you have to constantly be orgasming.
I mean
probably so.
Yeah, I was like,
so
I can't disagree that they just gotta keep doing it.
They don't have I'd be really curious to see who's the more violent society, chimps or bonobos. I would definitely think it would be chimpanzees.
It definitely is. It definitely is. Chimps are way more violent than bonobos. But for me, it would be more interesting because you can't really is there a pleasure aspect of it? Because there has to be, but is the pleasure, because like for humans, there's the physical, the chemical that is just a process of it, and some of it, and we talked about this book before, The Come As You Are. I forget who the author is, but I mentioned that last time, which is an amazing book, and it goes into the psyche. And so for the most part, I mean, even human sex, it's a series of psychological, but it's chemicals. I mean, everything that we do is controlled by chemicals, hormones, electrical impulses, all that stuff. And so I guess you can argue, like, is sex really pleasure, or is, like, what defines pleasure? You know what I'm saying? Like, is because everything we already do. Is it all
physical, or is it there's this much mental and like is it the bonding?
Yeah, like the self-awareness of it, because I guess humans have that other animals don't. However,
well, right, because they know that dolphins have sex for pleasure.
Exactly.
I mean, bonobos must have. I mean, surely
it has to be some of it, for as much as they're doing it, for crying out loud. Yeah. Besides, is
for their sake.
Yeah, right. That it isn't just a brain balancing thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, we had to talk about bonobos. We briefly talked about it before, but we got it. We had to just. Now it's out there in the world, and I am so sorry that I exposed you to creepy bonobos. You will never look at a bonobo the same way ever again. But bonobos, man. Weird animals.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it. We are going to go ahead and put this video on Patreon, so make sure you hop over to Patreon and search for the Love of Nature podcast. Go ahead and follow us on social media, even though not a ton of fun stuff happens over there. It's just social media. It's one of those things that, I mean,
reach out to us on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah, Twitter's probably one of the easiest ways to, I would say.
Yeah.
Just to get talking back and forth. Mm-hmm.
And stay tuned for the rest of season 4. There's a lot of good stuff coming.
I'm so excited for the rest of season 4. I really am. And I know I say this every season, that I feel like our topic choices get better and better. But I don't know. I feel like this time it might actually... I feel like it's topped every other season.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what everybody else says. Alrighty, everybody. That's it for this episode. We will talk to you next time.
Bye, everyone.